What's going on, guys? This is John Zakari, and today I want to talk about Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE. Back when Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem was initially announced, I was extremely excited as a fan of both series. But as I saw the game morph into what would become Tokyo Mirage Sessions, with a focus on becoming a pop idol, my hype quickly began to wane. However, after finally getting my hands on the final game, I've gotta say I'm pretty surprised in a good way by the result. So the game takes place in modern day Tokyo, even using real locations to add to the immersion. In this world, idol life is everything. Everyone you talk to just can't seem to shut up about their favorite performer. With creative juices flowing so freely, a new threat rises to take advantage. Rogue spirits called Mirages invade the world to harvest people's performa, essentially their creative spirit. To combat this, you and your party must take the fight to the spirit world known as the Idol Sphere to thwart this ghastly invasion. The Mirages aren't all bad, however, as some will team with your party to fight alongside humanity, linking to individual party members in a sort of persona fashion. Fans of Fire Emblem will notice that these Mirages are actually mainstays from the series. While new designs make them tough to recognize, their personalities, weapons, and fighting styles remain largely intact. And this is a very story-centric romp. Dialogue sequences can easily go on for 15 minutes before allowing you to take back control of your character. The quirky, lighthearted writing is entertaining, albeit cheesy at times, but so much of it can drag on after a while. Fortunately, you can fast forward and skip through these sections if you want to just get the story highlights or bypass these sections entirely. On the other hand, the fully animated cutscenes are beautiful and truly a treat to watch. You're often rewarded with a stage performance by one of your party members after completing a section, and they're all magnificently crafted. Now, there are many paths on the road to becoming an idol, and you can help your party members follow their dreams through side quests. Side quests in Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE are largely character-based. A quest will center around an individual character, giving you more insight into their backstory, as well as what drives them as a performer. Besides bringing more life to the characters, completing these quests often unlocks new performa for that character, allowing access to new abilities. These can be game-changing in terms of power, so it's recommended to complete each character's side quests to obtain more combat options. The locations that you'll bring your party into in the Idol Sphere act as dungeons, and traversing through them is akin to the Shin Megami Tensei series. There's some light puzzle solving which typically feels more tedious rather than challenging, often requiring you to backtrack multiple times just to interact with something. As you progress through the Idol Sphere, Mirages randomly appear and come after you. If they touch you, a battle sequence will begin. You can attack them first to get the upper hand in the ensuing battle, or to avoid them entirely. There's also darker apparitions that are not affected by your attacks, and if they touch you, it will initiate a savage encounter. Enemies in these battles are disproportionately difficult for the dungeon, and will likely wipe your party with ease. These should be avoided unless you're exploring a dungeon that you're out-leveled for. And speaking of wiping your party, each dungeon typically consists of a mid and end boss. These will act as power level checks for your party and require you to maximize your damage potential on every turn to succeed. Do not be surprised to find yourself breezing through a dungeon only to run into a mid-boss that one-shots your party members. With huge damage output and health bars, combined with plenty of powerful abilities, these encounters can feel a bit cheap at times, and likely will require several attempts and/or lots of grinding to overcome. The game's combat works like a traditional turn-based RPG, but with a lot of twists. Most notably the Sessions mechanic, which triggers whenever a party member lands an attack that an enemy is weak against. This causes fellow party members to also strike with their corresponding session abilities in a sort of chain attack. This adds an entire new layer to the gameplay, as you're not only looking to outfit your party with strong attacks, but also finding out which attacks will trigger the most sessions out of your party members to get the most damage out of every turn. Also, sessions can be triggered by enemies as well. So as you battle the various enemy types, it's important to note which will trigger their own sessions so you can focus on taking them down first. And enemy mirages aren't the only ones doing some harvesting. That's also a two-way street. After you defeat mirages, you will take their force, which can then be used in crafting recipes to acquire new weapons and abilities. Each character can acquire a fair number of weapons, but it's not about just upgrading and equipping the best one. Every weapon can be leveled up, giving the wielder more skills and abilities. For this reason, it's wise to level up each weapon to mastered level so that you can get all of the abilities out of it. I suggest equipping weapons you haven't mastered yet while grinding lower level enemies. And these are just some of the many systems that make it easy to dump dozens of hours into this game. And you'll keep getting introduced to more throughout the story. Be prepared to learn entirely new mechanics even after putting 20 plus hours into the game. Though your party's journey to become major stars while ridding the world of these heinous mirages will have its ups and downs, the world itself is astoundingly beautiful throughout. Atlus brings the anime art style they're known for to make it feel like you're playing out your own show. The color scheme focuses mostly on bright, neon colors that allow the characters to pop while supporting the flashy lights and wild sets that accompany the pop idol theme. Battle animations are over the top, and witnessing a well-placed chain of session attacks is just as rewarding as watching the target enemy's life bar diminish. Also, it's worth mentioning again, the anime cutscenes are stunning. Most allies and enemies are imported from the Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem series, but are almost unrecognizable as they've been heavily altered to suit this world. The new designs are superb, and it's fun to see how they subtly reflect the original characters. The game also borrows many audio cues from both the series it represents. Everything from attack sound effects to the leveling up tunes will feel familiar to those who have played previous games in each series. And this is all accompanied by fast-paced, J-pop inspired tracks that act as the cherry on top of immersing you into this entertainment environment. I even enjoyed the Wii U Gamepad Functions in this game, as Atlus managed to use it in a way that adds to the experience without being intrusive. The gamepad acts as your cell phone. Functions include a means to text with other characters in the game to further the plot, which I will say the text conversations are pretty good too. Characters use just the right amount of abbreviations and emojis to feel natural, and it also provides you with a live map. I always enjoy when Wii U developers can find ways to get some of the clutter off the screen and onto the gamepad without hindering gameplay, and this is a fine example of that. And of course, I couldn't feel this review was complete without addressing the watermelons in the room. Yes, it's true, many sweater yams were oppressed through censorship to make this game, quote, suitable for Western audiences. For the most part, this doesn't have much impact on the game, though I feel the photographer segment seems a bit odd in the censored version. Even so, some of it looks pretty dumb, like the smoke cloud over the Aversa boss's chest. It might as well have just been blurred out. If we're being honest, bringing these games to the West is mostly fan service. It's highly unlikely that your average consumer is going to be picking this game up. So I don't understand why developers insist on making these alterations that those who are actually going to buy the game strongly oppose. At the very least, the uncensored version changes should have been made available as free DLC with an age gate attached to it. Regardless, keeping the original vision away from a largely purist fanbase is just nonsensical. In the end, Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE was far from the game I was hoping to get out of this crossover, but I'm glad I did. If it weren't for the game starting out as Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, I may have passed on this title entirely, missing out on a quality experience. It's still hard to recommend such a game to those who aren't accustomed to JRPGs, but anyone who's considered taking the plunge into the genre should consider this game based on the combat and upgrade systems alone. Add on top of that the crazy ride to becoming a superstar, and you've got an experience you just won't find anywhere else. And with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to my channel now, and you can say you're a subscriber before it was cool. As always, I'm John Zakari, and thanks for watching.